boy.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Right? Brad Pitt? 7? Nothing? Yeah, I'm the jerk. What's in the box?
Hello everyone, Nucleus here. Welcome to part 4 in the PC Building for First Timers series. Now we're getting into PC cases and power supplies. I should be able to finalize the build in this video. If not, we'll do it in a separate video. So let's get started. A PC case is simply a box. Well, it's a little more than that. It's meant to protect your components from physical damage, but as cases have evolved over the years, many decisions have either focused on style, cooling potential, footprint, how much desk space they take up, budget options, or a combination of these factors. Now, I could say that your choice in PC case says something about your sense of style, and to a certain extent that's true. The most important thing is that cases never become obsolete. Cases are designed and built around the most common form factors: mini ITX, micro ATX, and ATX. There's also eATX, but that's not really a true form factor, as it's just a wider version of the ATX form factor. You're not getting any additional PCIe slots out of it. So as computer components evolve and advance, your PC case doesn't really need to be replaced unless you're looking to upgrade your look, or you need to design a specific design for a custom water loop. So the case I will be using today is the Montech Air 903 Max. I won't be doing an unboxing since it's the same case that I used in the PC that I gave to my brother, except this time it's black. I will be going over the design philosophy and features of the case though.
So I know I said I would start talking about the design philosophy of the Air 903 Max, which is in the center. But I kind of wanted to show you kind of all three cases that I have available to me. So when I first started my channel, as you can see, the one on the left, that is the Dreambox 2 from Aerocool. So that's been long since been discontinued. But the design philosophy behind it actually was not just to be a computer case. You could actually make it into pretty much whatever you wanted to. And as you can see, especially if you've been following the build vlog, which I need to start getting some more updates for, it is kind of configured in a fashion similar to most dual chamber PC cases on the market, which brings me to the case on the right, which is the Lian Li 011 Dynamic Evo, which is designed as a dual chamber case. Some have even commented on it as being a fish tank style case, which was popular for extreme overclockers, where they would actually build a gaming computer, and they would put it in a fish tank, and then they would fill that entire fish tank with mineral oil. That was called immersion cooling. So the medium by which your the entire computer, that means CPU and GPU, were cooled by the oil, or I should say the oil absorbed that heat, and of course because the top was open, the heat would radiate away. But there is a version of this where you actually have 3 panels, the front panel here, the side panel you see here, and the top would also be glass too. But if you kind of compare the two, the left and right, with dual chamber, everything is on the front. The power supply, in the case of the 011 Dynamic, especially not just this particular case, but the entire family, the power supply and the hard drive, because I do have 2 mechanical hard drives installed. This will be for an upcoming video. I'm doing a build for this. But those kind of, non-sexy components are hidden way behind the tray. And you can focus on the aesthetics here with your motherboard, cabling. Of course, I have the Unifans. I have 9 Unifans. They're all ARGB installed in here. So you can pretty much focus put a lot of focus on their aesthetics in here. So the Montech Air 903 Max that's in the center is basically your standard ATX case. All 3 of these were essentially mid-tower cases. So what you're seeing with the 903 Max is your standard ATX layout. The bottom here, this is in the hard. Excuse me. Well, it is the power supply shroud, or some people have commented on calling it a basement. But that is where the power supply will be tucked away and hidden. You have, of course, you have your rear exhaust fan. I will take off the rear panel. So you can see inside. So there's your basement. You stick your power supply in here. We do have a single drive cage. Of course, these are the accessories that come with the cage. Come with the case for mounting the mechanical hard drive in there. And just so you know, because the 903 Air, despite its size and some features that it does have, it's considered a budget case. I got this one as an open box. It cost me about $55. The white version that I got, which was new in box, that I did the build for my brother for, was still brand new, under $100. So. So we have here, this is a RGB hub and fan hub. And here, so we have 3 fans. I can pull the... Yes, I can. So, dust filter, meant to try to minimize the amount of dust that gets inside your computer. No matter how, unless you have an additional dust filter behind this, some dust is still going to get through, but something is still better than nothing. You have 3 intake fans, and the importance of design. The importance when you look at your cases is not just obviously not just the sex, but you want to think about the airflow, the air that's coming into your into the computer. So if you remember watching the video for the PC clean that I did for that teacher, when I replaced her case with the Cougar dual face RGB, it had like in its name, it had 2 front plates. One was tempered glass, which, for obvious reasons, because you don't put holes in glass, would be terrible for airflow and thus for temperatures in your case. And then it, of course, had another faceplate that was Don't remember how big the air holes were for that, but the point was that that was a little more airflow focused. So the Liam the O11 Dynamic, that family of cases, they have a interesting design philosophy with regards to airflow. As you can see with the placement of the fans in it, there are the you can do an intake from the bottom, from the side. Of course, you're not the way that it's configured is I do have the bottom fan installed to bring in air from the bottom. There's about an inch or so of the clearance that will allow air to come in from the bottom. I do have the side fans also configured to take air in from the side, and then everything gets exhausted out of the top and out of that rear fan exhaust right there. So other parts of the design with regards to the 903 is these are SSD sleds. Since you can't mount them in the hard drive cage, if you still do have those 2.5-inch SSDs like I showed you in the video I did about storage, this would be the place to mount them. I believe, yeah. And then you also have these additional holes here meant to mount more 2.5-inch SSDs as well. So that's pretty much kind of it with regards to cases. Then we'll go into power supplies next, and we'll talk about that, and then we will finally get this build completed. So here we have a power supply, essentially almost like a big brick. This is a 1300 watt power supply from EVGA under their Super Duper line. It's a 1300 GT. So the purpose of a power supply, as you can guess, is to supply power to your PC, and that does that by converting grid power, your power that comes from your wall socket from the electrical company, and it converts it to DC through a series of rectifiers and some other type of circuits that take that AC power, convert it to DC, and then also amplify it to a specific voltage. But it basically converts it to DC power. The power supplies kind of come in three different flavors, if you will. Where one is completely unmodular, and that means you have all the cables that are already pre-installed. You have semi-modular, where the 24-pin power connector that goes from the power supply to your motherboard is already pre-installed. It's already set to a specified length, and then you have. And with those semi-modular ones, you have all your additional cables for like your CPU, your graphics card, your SATA connectors for like for hard drives. Those are all you can disconnect and connect them as you need it, depending on how if you need to expand the number of devices that need to be powered by your power supply. And then you have fully modular, and that's what this is a fully modular power supply. As you can see, I've removed all the cables so you can get to take a look at this. In the case of this is this 1300 watt. You can see that there are just a large amount of 8-pin connectors particularly for the CPU, but also for graphics cards, because prior to the ATX 5.3.0 standard, where it has a special 16-pin connector,
I'm not sure when this particular power supply came out, but if you look at the number of 8-pin connectors, this was probably meant for a dual GPU setup. There's 6 PCIe connectors, 2 for the CPU, and of course you have all these others for SATA. This is also somewhat common, depending on the manufacturer, where the 24-pin connector is kind of split in half. I think that has probably something more to do with the design of the power supply. Not particularly common. I've used some Seasonic power supplies. I don't think they use that split 24-pin connector. So so in the case of this is 1300 watts. So it is meant to be able to provide 1300 watts of power to the entire computer. So when you're picking out a power supply, you definitely want to get a power supply with a wattage that is equivalent or exceeds the needs of what your PC build requires. If you haven't noticed, but I think I pointed it out before, the PC part picker has a tool that will calculate the required wattage or the current wattage of your build as you go through it. So you can pick out a power supply that either meets or exceeds your power requirements. And so we won't be using this here in this build. I believe I pointed out that there was with the Galahad 2 all-in-one cooler that I had that was pretty well scorched from electrical accident. That's what happened with this. And the thing about that is, well, this power supply is completely dead. I can't use it. I have been able to power it on. I do have a quick power supply testing tool, and I can only get power out of the 24-pin connector. Everything else is dead. So this power supply is unusable. And I can't really RMA it back to EVGA because EVGA has ceased their business operations. So this is pretty much e-waste. But nonetheless, it does kind of illustrate my point. But I do have a separate power supply that I will be using to show the build. So in the case of this also, the reason why when I was using this, why I needed to use the Wood for 1300 watts was because I had it in a high-end system. I believe I showed it to you. It was the last gen gaming build. Actually, no, it wasn't. This was inside the. This is inside the build that I did for my son, actually. So I believe I did use this. I think I used it in another build somewhere. But something like this, 1300 watts, you're definitely going to want to look at a CPU a power supply with this wattage rating. If you are running high-end parts, like you're running let's say we'll kind of use AMD for example, like a 9950X, and you've paired it with a 4950. Let's say let's say from Asus, because I believe that not only is that a powerful card, I believe that the required power for it is pretty crazy. So those high-end parts will require a lot of power. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not trying to give them a power supply that can't handle powering those parts, because those aren't the only parts that utilize power, because you have, of course, you have to have, you do need power for your for the RAM, believe it or not, even though it's getting its power from the DIMM slots. The power's got to come from somewhere. You're also talking about other little things like your RGB headers, your fan headers for your cooling. I think that's for the most part it. Of course, you have also for your built-in audio solution. Years ago, that sound cards were a thing. Actually, they're still a thing, and those need power as well. So, the other thing also with regards to having such a high wattage power supply is if you're into overclocking, or you plan to do some overclocking, you want to overclock your CPU or GPU, you need that extra headroom from a large wattage power supply like this. And so that's kind of what you need to consider when picking out your power supply. Are you dealing with high-end parts? Are you going to be overclocking? Things of that nature. And just so you know, I think I might have iterated this before. There are overcurrent and overvoltage protections built into the power supply, because when this went up, there was no damage to the rest of the computer. The motherboard and the CPU were protected. So was the GPU. So this pretty much took the brunt of it. I believe I have dealt with some power supplies that have failed due to like a lightning strike, which is a overcurrent situation, and I believe only one time have I seen it actually destroy a entire computer or cause an entire computer to fail. And typically it was because it was, I believe it was a Dell, and it was not necessarily the best power supply, but at least it didn't cause any injuries to any of my users. So that's something to think about. Definitely go for with a reputable company. EVGA isn't around anymore, but you still have Corsair, Seasonic, MSI started making their own power supplies. ASUS has started making their own power supplies. There's Be Quiet. There's quite a few FSP. There's quite a few power supply manufacturers. Even Microsoft themselves has their own in-house brand that makes power supplies as well. So, and I believe, I think there was something else I forgot to mention, and that is this. So, with the efficiency ratings, basically they tell you how efficient the power supply is going to be. So, as you can see here, there is a fan for cooling this, but efficiency, what that has to do with is how efficient does this utilize the electricity that comes into it, meaning how much electricity is converted into heat, which is kind of what the efficiency is how much of it is actually being used to do work and how much electricity is being released off as heat. And electrical components do get hot, and they will get hot. And the same thing that goes for when you're dealing with your CPUs and your GPUs. You want them to be efficient as well. You want them to use as much of the power coming into them as possible, with little being lost as heat. But heat is inevitable. Just the way that electricity goes, and Ohm's law, as as voltage and current increase, you're going to get an increase of wattage or heat being given off by the components. Hence the reason why we have these cooling solutions, whether it be water cooling, air cooling. The GPUs can be water cooled, or they have typical standard or stock air coolers that are built into them. So I will go into an explanation about what the efficiency ratings are shortly, but definitely wanted to let the first-time users know what a power supply looks like. And just so you know, too, this is actually pretty large. This has been there have been power supplies that are even larger than this, but as technology has advanced, they generally have shrunk down a little bit. This isn't necessarily the largest out there, or the largest power supply that has ever been built. I think you could say probably whack off about a third, and that's probably your typical desktop power supply.
Power supply rating efficiencies are characterized by bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and titanium. Power supplies have their efficiencies measured at at 20% load, 50% load, and 100% load. So a quick shortcut for the efficiency breakdown looks like this. 80 plus bronze is 82% efficient. 80 plus silver is 85% efficient. 80 plus gold is 90%. 80 plus platinum is 92%. And 80 plus titanium is 94%. But in some cases, it can be as high as 96%. Now that we get the power supply efficiency ratings, companies have to voluntarily submit their power supplies for testing to get a rating. So other than wattage rating, these efficiency ratings can also affect the pricing of your power supply. Typically that means that the higher the efficiency, the higher the quality of the components that went into its construction, typically speaking. So I think today's video has run long enough, so I will end it here. And in the next video, we will complete the entire build with the power supply that I've acquired. We'll probably go into doing a brief overview on operating systems, and then we'll do our conclusions. So thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.